you should adopt instead of abort. 11,059. This number represents the number of adoptions in the U.S. in 2011. Only 1,000 less than that represents the number of abortions performed in Mississippi alone in 2010. According to adoption activities on the internet, there were adoptions in overseas. In Ukraine there were 445, in Colombia there were 235, in China there were 3,401, in Russia there were 1,082, in Ethiopia there were 2,513, in South Korea there were 863. All of these adoptions were people from the United States who adopt internationally. Today I'm going to give you 3 reasons on why adoption is better than abortion. The 3 reasons are because you have those couples who are unable to have children on their own, who want to adopt and want a child. Abortions are harmful to the mother, and you have the children in third world countries who are abandoned. According to expectations of consequences of international adoption in the Public Health magazine, abortions can cause many harmful effects to the mother, and not only that, but you're killing an innocent child. The effects that it has on the mother is that you can get bladder injuries, it can lead to breast cancer, you can have an ectopic pregnancy later on in life if you decide to try and conceive and have a child later on. You have the chance of your abortion failing, and so then you still have the child. You can get hemorrhages, which lead to all kinds of other disorders and harmful effects to the mother. If you try and get pregnant later on in life, your chances of having miscarriages go up by 50%. It's deadly, and also the younger you have an abortion as a child, the worse the post-abortion syndrome is, which, you know, is like depression and all that kind of stuff. And so the younger you are, the worse off your post-abortion is. Adoption, the reason why you should adopt over abortions, you have the families, the parents who, one parent or another cannot help conceive for whatever medical reasons. And so you have those parents who really want a child, and so instead of just getting rid of your baby, to say you should let those parents want to adopt, and they'll give your child a loving home, you know, if you're too young and can't afford a child, or if, you know, for some medical reasons or another, you know, you don't have the money to pay for your child after it's born, there are families who would be willing to do that for you instead of just aborting your child. And then in the third world countries, it's good to adopt from them because most of those countries are poverty-stricken, and so the parents have so many kids already, and they end up getting pregnant again, and they can't afford to supply any more children. Most of the homes in third world countries have 4 or more children, and that's a lot, you know, to pay for on only a couple dollars a day, which is normally what one parent makes, and the other parent has to stay at home and teach the children and take care of the house and those kinds of things. And so it's hard to pay for several children on, you know, just one person's salary, plus 2 parents. And then another reason to adopt internationally is because you have children whose parents have to leave and go fight in a war, or they just leave them abandoned, and those children have nowhere to go. And third world countries don't have very many orphanages because they don't have people who want to help pay to keep, you know, hundreds of children in one home or one place at a time. And so it's better to adopt from those places. And I read you all those numbers on how people from the U.S. adopted these children who otherwise would not have homes and would probably die just on the side of the street from lack of care and there not being anyone to take care of them. And then another reason abortions are bad is because you're taking an innocent child's life and they had, no way of knowing anything. And, that's a decision that you get to make, but it's not one that should be made when there are alternatives to abortions. You have adoption and that stuff. And then another reason to adopt is because there are children all over, even in the U.S., that needs homes. It's not just internationally. There are children here in the U.S., in Mississippi, in Florida, in all 50 states that get abandoned every day, and you wouldn't even know it because you're like, oh, I live in the U.S., there are plenty of people, but there really aren't. There are all kinds of children living in orphanages who want a home, a loving mother and father. This is why adoption is better than abortion. There are couples who are unable to have children. It's harmful to the mother, and there are children who are abandoned every day.